Alright, welcome to the other part of the logical functions video. In the last video, we learned how to make use of the if function to group or categorize our data based on the logical test that we are trying to work on or as required. So in the last video, we worked on grouping the sales into the sales status of high, medium, low, and then we did the same thing for the segment status to assign a new name for the customers. So in this case, we use the if function. If the sales is greater than 10,000, they give us high sales. If it is less than 5,000, they give us low sales. Then if it is if it doesn't belongs to the high sale, greater than 10,000 or less than 5,000, that means it is in between. So one of the things that I'm going to point out here is that we should try as much as possible to think and make sure we are applying different approach to solving problems. Because I know some people, based on the question, they may be looking for a function that is between. But the point or the truth of the matter is you may actually not see some functions, but the way you're going to write your own thing, the way you think about it, your approach is going to determine how your function is going to work out. So in this case, we've been able to group the sales status and the segment status. Now we're going to be learning a new function that is also a logical function in PowerBI desktop and in DAX. And the function is called switch. So we have the switch function that allows you to write a simple logical test. When we use the if function the other time, you can remember that we use multiple if. In this case, we have two ifs. So when we are writing the sales status, we use two ifs. When we were writing the segment status, we use three ifs. Now, how can we minimize our efforts or to make sure that we are running away from errors? Because the more you use if, the more you nest your functions, the more prone you are to errors. There is a function that can now allow us to write a simple if function in a single statement, and it is called the switch. So let's call this sales status 2. So we can see the switch function as the ifs in Microsoft Excel or case when then in SQL Server. Now what we are basically trying to write here is switch. What do you want to switch? I want to switch the sales status. So I'm going to simply say the sales status, comma. Now the next thing I'm going to be providing is the value. What value do I want? And then what is the result that I want for the value now? So I'm going to say, hey, I want I sales. Then immediately I put or that I've entered the I sales, then what should happen to I sales? Then I want a new value to be assigned to I sales. What value? 1, for example. Comma. So I want to assign 1, 2, 3 based on how the customers are buying. So 1 should go for high sales, they are in position 1. Then medium should have 2. Then low sales should have 3. So now I've been able to say, hey, switch the sales status. When the sales status is high, basically that's just what I'm trying to say, a basic function. So when the sales status is high, then give me 1, comma. Then when it is medium, then what should happen? Then I want 2, comma, then value 3. So that is low status in quotation. Don't forget, we are writing a text. Low sales. Then what should happen? I want 3. Don't forget, I'm putting the 1, 2, 3 in textual value because I want them in text. If you like, you can put them in ordinary numbers, 1, 2, 3, without having to string them. So if I run this, then I'm going to have a new value that is going to be assigned to the grouping that I've just done. So I'm expected to have 1, 2, 3, 1 for high sales, 2 for medium, and 3 for low sales, as in this case. So as you can see, we have 1 for high sales, 2 for medium, and 3 is going to be for low sales. Anywhere we say 3, low sales. So in this case, this is how we can use the switch function. It is easier to use, and you use it when you are trying to write multiple if function and you feel like it can be congested. or you can run into errors because of multiple functions that you're trying to use. So in this case now, this is one of the first way that we can use the switch function. So we use the switch when we are trying to assign a value, but if you're trying to, let's say for example, the sales status, the way we group or the way we text for the we tested for the values, we said when sales is greater than 10,000, then give me this. When it is between this and this, then give me this value. We can simply not write our switch in this case. So when we want to do something like that, let's say for example, I'm going to have sales status 3, then we are going to use the switch to test for sales. So if the sales is greater than 10,000, just exactly the way we did for if, we now want to see how we can make use of switch in that scenario as well. So I'm going to call this sales status 3. Then we're going to be making use of switch. So if I say switch sales status, just like we did the other time, sales status, comma, then we say the value. If the sales, so that is the financial sales, is greater than 10,000, that's the value that we're trying to write, then what should be the result? Then we want I sales. Exactly the same way that we did the last time. We want I sales, comma, then value 2. So that is if the sales of financial is less than 5,000, comma, then what should be the result? We want low sales. And if it is not any of them, which is the else, as you can see, the switch also have the else function, the else statement. So that means if the last thing that you are providing, automatically the DAX, the switch is going to see it as the else function, or you can simply just say sales and provide your function as well. But if you want to save yourself the stress, you can simply just put medium sales, that is if any of the condition is not met. So if the value is not greater than 10,000 and not less than 5,000, then whatever result that should be between them should be assigned to medium sales. Now let's run this. So immediately we run this, then we should run into error because we are trying to test a logic, and then the switch function is going to have problem trying to calculate what exactly we are trying to do. As you can see, we have the error message, and the error message says that switch function does not support comparing values of type text with values of type true or false. True or false are called boolean values. Now what we are trying to test here is the sales greater than 10,000 true or false? If it is true, then assign I sales. But in this case, we are trying to write it in a simple and a basic switch function. So in that case, what we are supposed to do is inside of the expression, which is the first argument, instead of putting the normal column, we are going to type true statement. So true is going to be the expression, which means we want to test if all these conditions are true. So if all these conditions are true, then assign the values that we've supplied to them. Now in this case, if I run it, then we are going to have our results. So these are the two ways by which you can use your switch. You can use the switch as a basic test, and we can use the switch as an intermediate or the logical test. So if you want to assign a value, you just want to assign a value to a particular thing, just like we did for the sales status 2. So 1 for I sales, 2 for medium sales. As you can see, it is basic and straightforward. In this case, we are not referencing the columns. As you can see, no sales status equals to 1 or whatsoever. We've already stated that we want to use the sales status, then these are the values and the result. But in the case of sales 3, we reference the columns that we are using every single time. So if sales is greater than 10,000, I sales. If sales is less than 5,000, low sales, and so on and so forth, then we have to put the true expression to test if all these conditions are true, then assign the values. So this is a simple way to make use of the switch function in Microsoft Power BI desktop and using DAX. So anywhere you are writing your DAX, you can easily supply or use the switch function, and I think this function is also now available in Microsoft Excel 365. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so that other people can have access to it too. See you in the next video where we are going to be discussing more on DAX functions. Thank you.